Hi, I'm Ellen. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you're returning, I'm truly glad you came back. It was during an early morning strategy meeting that I watched my idea get stolen in real time. I'd spent the entire weekend researching solutions to our biggest client challenge, had detailed analysis ready, and knew exactly what we needed to do. I'd created spreadsheets, gathered case studies, even sketched out implementation timelines. But there I was, sitting in that conference room, waiting for the right moment to share my findings. That perfect pause in conversation that never seemed to come. You know that feeling too, don't you? When you have something valuable to contribute, but the conversation moves so fast, you can't find your entry point. Someone threw out a half-formed suggestion that was heading in the wrong direction. Before I could even process how to respond, someone else had jumped in with enthusiasm. Yes, and we could also. Within minutes, they were building momentum around an approach I knew wouldn't work. I felt that familiar knot in my stomach, the one that comes from watching a train wreck in slow motion. Finally, I managed to interject. Actually, I think we should consider. But my voice got lost as two other people started talking simultaneously. When the room settled, the conversation had moved on entirely. I sat there holding my research, feeling invisible despite having the best solution in the room. 3 weeks later, I watched my manager present my weekend research as our team's breakthrough thinking. The same insights I'd tried to share that morning, but couldn't get heard. That meeting made me realize something I'd been unconsciously experiencing for years. As introverts, we often come to meetings as the most prepared people in the room. We've done the deep thinking, the research, the analysis. We understand the implications and can see solutions others miss. We arrive with our thoughts organized, our facts checked, our insights ready to share. But meetings reward verbal processing speed, not depth of insight. While we're internally organizing our thoughts into coherent, strategic contributions, others are thinking out loud, claiming conversational territory, building alliances through rapid-fire exchanges. They're comfortable with imperfect thoughts shared at high volume. We need our thoughts to be complete and valuable before we share them. We're playing a different game entirely, one where our greatest strengths become invisible because we need a moment to translate complex thoughts into clear communication. I know this will all sound familiar. You sit there with the perfect solution forming in your mind, waiting for the conversation to slow down enough for you to contribute meaningfully. But that moment never comes, or when it does, someone else has already moved the discussion in a different direction. You leave the meeting feeling frustrated, unheard, and questioning whether your contributions even matter. Meanwhile, your carefully researched insights sit unused in your notebook. After that experience, I became obsessed with understanding why some people get heard while others don't. I started studying my most successful meetings and realized something crucial. The difference between contributing effectively and staying silent wasn't about personality. It was about having the right entry points into conversations. The colleagues who got heard consistently weren't necessarily more insightful. They weren't even necessarily more confident. They just had better scripts. They knew exactly how to interrupt respectfully, how to bridge into their points, how to buy themselves thinking time without appearing hesitant. I'd like to add something to what Sarah just said. That's interesting, and I have a slightly different perspective. Before we move on, could we consider another angle? I've been researching this exact issue, and here's what I found. These weren't natural gifts. They were learned techniques that created space for thoughtful contribution. I realized I'd been waiting for perfect openings that rarely exist in fast-paced group discussions. Meanwhile, successful contributors were creating their own openings with specific, practiced phrases. They weren't talking more. They were talking more strategically. They had verbal tools that I simply hadn't learned yet. And the more I studied this, the more I realized it wasn't about changing my personality. It was about learning the language of group dynamics. Once I understood this was a skills issue rather than a personality limitation, everything changed. I started developing specific phrases that worked with my communication style rather than against it. Scripts that bought me processing time, claimed conversational space respectfully, and positioned my insights as valuable additions rather than hesitant interruptions. The transformation was remarkable. I wasn't becoming someone else or forcing extroverted behaviors. I was simply learning the verbal tools that allowed my natural thoughtfulness to shine in group settings. Instead of waiting for perfect silence to share complex ideas, I learned to say, "I've been thinking about this from a different angle, and I'd love to share what I found in my research." This phrase does three things. It claims time, establishes credibility, and creates anticipation. Instead of losing my train of thought when interrupted, I developed phrases like, "Let me finish this thought," and then "I'd love to hear your perspective." Instead of watching my ideas get overlooked, I learned to plant seeds early. I have some research that might be relevant to this. Can I share it when we get to solutions? I discovered the power of the strategic pause. That's a good point. Let me think about that for a moment. This simple phrase bought me processing time while showing I was engaged and thoughtful. I learned to build on others' ideas rather than competing with them. What you're saying connects perfectly with something I found in my research. Meetings stopped feeling like verbal combat and started feeling like strategic opportunities to contribute meaningfully. My insights began getting the attention they deserved, not because I talked more, but because I knew exactly how to claim my space when I had something important to say. The best part? I was still authentically myself, just with better tools. My colleagues started seeking out my input because they knew when I spoke, it was worth listening to. My preparation became an asset instead of something that slowed me down. If you've ever sat in a meeting with valuable insights but struggled to find your entry point into the conversation, you're not alone. If you've watched less thoughtful colleagues get credit for ideas you were still formulating, I want you to know, this isn't about your personality being wrong for the workplace. You're not too quiet, too slow, or too thoughtful. You just need the right scripts. That's why I've created something specifically to help with this challenge. It's called Meeting Confidence Scripts, a collection of the exact phrases I use to contribute meaningfully in meetings without feeling like I'm performing or fighting for airtime. These aren't generic "speak up more" suggestions that ignore how introverts actually process and communicate. These are specific, tested phrases designed for how thoughtful people actually communicate. Opening phrases that claim space respectfully, bridge phrases that connect your insights to ongoing discussion, and clarification phrases that buy you processing time when you need it. Each script is designed to work with your natural communication style, not against it. I'm giving you phrases for entering conversations gracefully, for buying yourself thinking time, for building on others' ideas, and for ensuring your insights get the attention they deserve. You can simply download your free copy using the link in the description below. Your thoughtful contributions deserve to be heard. And sometimes, all it takes is knowing exactly how to claim your moment in the conversation. These scripts are just your starting point. For a complete system on becoming promotion-ready as an introvert, there's much more available. But start here, because every great career advancement begins with learning to make your insights visible in the room where decisions get made. Imagine walking into your next meeting knowing exactly how to contribute when you have something valuable to say. Imagine leaving meetings feeling heard, valued, and confident that your best insights reach the people who need to hear them. Download your free meeting confidence scripts using the link in the description and get the exact phrases that help thoughtful professionals contribute meaningfully without exhausting themselves. You can transform your next meeting from another source of frustration into an opportunity to shine. Your voice matters, and with the right tools, you'll never have to watch your ideas get stolen again. Thanks for being here. I hope this helped, even in some small way. If it did, maybe stay with me a little longer. This next video might help even more.